Today, I'm reviewing the TinHifi C3 MKII single dynamic driver in-ear monitors. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Review. So the C3 MKII here is the evolved version of the original TinHifi C3, which was kind of a spin-off from the TinHifi T3 Plus, but never mind all that. So this one here is coming in at a price of $49, although if you look around you can get it for as low as $39, which, spoiler alert, bargain. Hello. Now inside of here we've got a 10mm single dynamic driver. It's an LCP diaphragm or liquid carbon polymer. Is that right? Something like that. It comes with this rather substantial carrying case, which is nice in a budget IEM. You do get a few different ear tips there. They're all too small for my ears, so I don't know. It's going to depend on your ears how well you fare with that. And in addition, there are some spare nozzle covers there. Let's do the cable first today. It's pretty generic. Look, I don't really mind what comes with IEMs at this price point. It's decent, very generic, but it has all metal components. It handles well. It doesn't have microphonics, but it is it's a pretty ordinary cable. Let's have a look at the IEMs, and that's what they look like. They are the shell design is basically unchanged from the original C3 and the T3 Plus as well. That is a good thing in my opinion, because at least for my ears, these are some of the most comfortable budget IEM. Well, some of the most comfortable IEMs, period. These fit in my ear concha so snugly and perfectly, just almost like a custom IEM. So same shell shape and size pretty much. There is a bit of a difference in the faceplate design. You've got this black and grey flecked pattern, which looks really nice. I think they could have done without the stars there. It would have been a little more classy perhaps without the stars, but they were trying to, I can't remember what it said in the marketing, something about the limitlessness of space or something like that. And we've got that nice gold TinHifi logo in the middle. So yeah, apart from those stars, pretty cool looking, but I don't really care what they look like. I'm all about the sound and the comfort. So let's get into it. And look, these have had some pretty positive reviews, but in my opinion, I don't know why people aren't raving about these, because these are great in my opinion. You know what? When I started listening to these, I was like, well, first of all, I was extremely impressed by the clarity, the resolution, the level of detail, the tonality. But then I started thinking, these are reminding me of something that I like. And then it clicked. It was the IO Audio Volare, which is a very expensive IEM. So if you're familiar with the Volare and you want to get an idea of how that sounds in a budget package, grab these, because yeah, it's pretty similar in terms of the graph. Speaking of the graph, there it is. Now let's talk about the sound. So look, just great, really lovely, balanced sound signature. Pretty good. Well, not pretty good. Excellent bass extension, even sub bass extension. Nice deep rumble going on. You can see there's a little bit of a fall off in the sub bass. That doesn't really come across when you're listening. It doesn't sound rolled off in the least in terms of quantity. Definitely not in quality, I should say, because the sub bass quality here and the bass in general is outstanding. It is well defined, it's nimble, it's speedy, it's impactful and punchy, but it's quite restrained in terms of forwardness. It's not a bass heavy IEM, but the quality of the bass and the weight, the sense of weight is there. It feels powerful, yet it doesn't in the least compromise the mid-range or the treble. So as far as the bass goes, they absolutely smashed it here. Let's talk about the mids. And the mids are pretty much neutral, fairly neutral in their tuning. a neutral note size in there, good note density, good resolution, instrument separation. Some might call the mid-range a touch dry, just like the Volare, but for me, I think they've done it really, really nicely here. Vocals have got enough richness to sound natural, but there's no muddying. They're not overly saturated, so that doesn't sound like they're veiled in any means. And at the same time, they don't sound in the least bit analytical, at least to my ears. So both male and female vocals are good. There's enough lift there in that presence range for the vocals to rise up out of the mix. And just the mid-range in general is done really nicely. Surprising quality for a budget IEM. And then in terms of treble, we've got a pretty, look, it's a smooth treble to my ears. There's no harshness, there's no sibilance. It's not a sharp treble, it's a fairly safe tuning. However, the detail retrieval that you get is really outstanding. So excellent detail retrieval. Even micro details are up front and you won't miss a thing. It's a nice airy treble. It adds to the sense of spaciousness within the sound. It also adds clarity and definition to the mid-range. And not only that, but it also affects the quality of the leading edge on bass notes too, which gives them that well-defined sort of clean attack. And when it comes to technicalities, well, I've mentioned the detail already, which is excellent. It's above average. For imaging, it's also very good, which comes down in part to, first of all, the detail. Secondly, the resolution, the instrument separation is very good. So all the elements within music, even during complex passages or tracks, everything is nicely separated, which gives you a good sense of placement within the stage. So very good for music, positional cues, gaming, they're great for that as well. And really, in terms of technical performance, these actually put quite a few much more expensive IEMs to shame in that regard. So look, I don't know what else to say. Oh, I was going to do comparison. So let's do that now with the MKII Clean, one of my favorite sub $50 IEMs. And yeah, if you see, I might throw up the graph here of these two if I remember. And when you see how similar they are, you can probably understand why I like the C3 Mark II as much as I do, because I also love the MKII Clean. The MKII Clean has metal shells, slightly smaller, very comfortable as well. But I know a lot of people prefer the resin shells, especially in extremely cold weather. But have a look how similar they are on the graph there. The main difference being the quantity of the bass, where the MKII has a little bit more. But apart from that, they're very similar throughout. What it does, it makes the MKII slightly thicker in note size in its presentation and slightly warmer overall. I think the C3, however, it sounds more high fidelity, it sounds a bit cleaner, more pristine, and more spacious. So both of these are fantastic. I could happily live with either one as a daily driver. If you are interested in both or either of these and you can't make up your mind which one you think is best, basically the MKII is just a little more easygoing, a little more relaxed in its presentation, whereas the C3 Mark II is a little bit more technical, slightly more analytical, but definitely not in an overall sense, because it's still a very musical IEM. It's got a beautiful low end, it's got nice richness in the mid-range, but it is very, very clean and just an amazing IEM for $39 to $49. It doesn't get much better than this. These are definitely going on my list of best IEMs on the website, and you probably won't be surprised to hear that I'm highly recommending this one. Having said that, it's time to wrap it up. So thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, Pa Family Audiophile style. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. And until next time, I'll see you later.